So to me, I have to amp up to do the social media. Do you enjoy that or not enjoy that?
I wish I never had to do it again, but I don't not enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I have this love-hate relationship with social media.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I could get off of it forever. I wish everybody could get off of it forever. But I'm in a business that requires me to be there. But it's the contriving authenticity that bothers me. I'm an authentic guy. I'm the real Jason Duncan. I mean, I want to be real in every situation. But in order to play the social media game, you got to play games that I'm not really interested in.
All right, welcome back to another edition of America's Coach. I'm Coach Michael Burt here at the Greatness Factory in the Level 10 studios. And really, I like to interview people of interest. They got a big prey drive. They're doing big things in the world. And today is going to be no different. And we have a longtime friend of mine who's really transitioned into coaching business owners. He's ran successful businesses. He's exited businesses. And he's got an incredible concept called exit without exiting, which, you know, I'm big on concepts. So, Jason Duncan, welcome. Welcome to the podcast.
It's an honor. It's an honor, Coach.
Man. So you've been up to a lot of things, right? You ran successful businesses. That's how you and I met. Mm-hmm. I spoke at a conference. I still remember it like it was yesterday. I'm telling you, before I came in and spoke, they said there's only one guy that you need to try to land as a client here. And I go, all right, which one is he? And they said, Jason Duncan. And I go, okay. And they say, he's a little skeptical of guys, you know, like you. And I go, okay. I said, well, let's just go in and see what we can do. And we had a good presentation. You and I met, and then we worked together at your lighting company. Yeah. And we really just broke it down, man. And so what happened to that company?
Well, I exited that company in 2020.
Okay.
And I turned that company, well, we were in the process of selling the company to a third party.
Okay.
And there was a 3-year plan to work that out. And let's just suffice it to say that didn't go as planned.
Yeah.
So that company is no longer.
Okay.
And it was a terrible blight on the otherwise very storied, successful history of that company, because we made millions of dollars. It was a great company.
And I guess looking back on that, what was the biggest thing that you learned from that you carry? Because now you got this concept of exit without exiting. Somewhere that clicked with you when you're running that company.
Yeah.
And I remember you and I whiteboarding it out, and we were looking at sales cycles, and sometimes it was hard to sell, sometimes it was better. What did you take with you that you carried over here into this new business that you have?
Well, so when I was running the lighting company full time, I had a coach, and you know my coach because BJ Howard.
Yeah,
I introduced BJ to you, I think.
He was one of my
and unfortunately we lost BJ a few years ago.
I know.
But I talked to BJ about this fact that, hey, I just want to go sell the company. We have a 7-figure bottom line. We're doing really good. Let's sell the company. And he said, well, the reason you would want to sell it is the reason nobody else would buy it. And I said, what does that mean? He goes, well, because you're too involved. You are the company. If you're not here, it doesn't work. Yeah. And that clicked in my brain. So something's got to change. So over the course of the next year or two, I started working on how do I extricate myself, strategically disentangle myself from this business.
Yeah.
And I did it. And the end of 2019, I made a decision. The original decision was to sell the company to my employees over a long period of time. Let them run it, and I was going to step away. Well, then COVID hit, and we did most of our work in hospitals.
Right.
So as you might imagine, COVID just about killed the company.
Wow.
Like we cash flow went to zero in 48 hours.
Oh, wow.
Middle of March, I was on vacation. My team called me frantic. If we don't fire 4 people today, we're going to be out of business.
Okay.
So that's what happened. So that changed the plan. So when the plan changed, I went and looked for other options. And that's when a friend of mine, a former friend now, but a friend of mine came to me and said, hey, I got an idea. What do we do this thing?
Okay.
And his intent was to purchase it over the course of 3 years. And then over the course of 3 years, they ran it into the absolute ground, ran up the debt, and just absolutely just raided it and killed it. Did
that change your mindset about doing deals with friends?
Yeah,
or did
absolutely.
that, because, you know, obviously when you run a coaching business like you do, you coach and mentor people for a period of time, and then it kind of sometimes moves into a friendship, you know what I mean? And then you start doing strategic partnerships with them.
Yeah.
Did you walk away from that going, I'm not doing that again?
Yeah, I think I was talking this morning to your group, because you invited me to speak to your groups this morning, and I was talking about the fact that you got to be really, really, really careful with partnerships, because I've been burned twice on partnerships.
Yep.
And I assume that one of those 2 partners that I'm talking about could also say the same thing about me.
Yep.
Right? Okay, so it goes both ways.
Yep.
But had I the lessons I learned is I trusted, but I didn't verify.
Yeah.
So that's one. And I learned 10 big lessons, and I probably couldn't recall all of them off the top of my head, but I did a podcast series on those 10 big lessons. And one is trust but verify. And another one is temper your ambitions, which I think is an interesting perspective, especially for somebody like you that's all about prey drive. It's like be ambitious. But there was a guy who wrote a book back in the late 1800s, early 1900s called The 7 Rules for Life, and I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but one of them was temper your ambitions. And I didn't understand that at the time, but my ambitions through the process of exiting that company really clouded my judgment.
Yeah.
I didn't pay attention to the things that I should have paid attention to, and my ambitions clouded the things I should have paid attention to. So now looking back, while it wasn't my fault directly, it was my fault indirectly. I owned the company.
Yeah.
But had I tempered my ambitions, had I trusted but verified, and the other things about debt and leverage, or so many other things, now I'm a much better coach. It's funny because I exited that business without exiting, which is why I wrote the book, and that experiment worked until it didn't.
Right.
And now I could write a different book on here's what not to do, here's how not to do it. And when I revealed to my clients what I was going through, because they knew something was up.
Yeah.
And I had a moment, it was in December, it was a year ago. We're 1 year removed from this. We had a hot seat mastermind session at my office, and I was just wrecked. And I hadn't told anybody. I mean, people real close to me knew, but my clients didn't know, because I didn't want to lift the skirt. Like, it's not time for that.
Yeah.
And they all knew something was up. And we were having this hot seat, and 2 or 3 guys had shared their guts about what was going on and what they needed help with. And somebody said, Jason, why don't you, something's up. Yeah. And for the next 2 hours, dude, I just puked all over them. And I was scared to death that was the end of my coaching business. I thought, this is the end.
Yeah.
This is the end.
Yeah.
And instead, it endeared everyone to me a million times more than I could have ever tried to make them like me or like what I'm doing. Because they saw, it's like, this guy's not Superman.
Yeah.
He also screwed up. He also has a failure, and he pushed through it. And one of them even said to me, you're going to be a better coach because of this. Yeah. My mentors were telling me all along. Yeah. He said, hey, man, I don't know any person that's really worth something that didn't go through something like this.
Well, when you think about that, where could people find those 10 steps that you talked about? Is it somewhere on your podcast?
Yeah, The Root of All Success is the name of the podcast. There, I did a whole series of those. Yeah. And it's also, I've got a newsletter called Beyond the Grind that comes out every Wednesday. And I recap that in there. And it's probably on my blog, on my website somewhere too. You probably find it.
Well, temper your ambitions. Every bad deal I've been involved in, and I've been involved in some bad deals, was because it looked like there's so much, upside, right? But there was something that didn't feel right or didn't seem right, or you know what I'm saying. And I think that's a big one, tempering your ambitions. And so I think that'd be a great one to go back and watch. Today you seem like a happy guy.
Yep.
I watch you on social media, and you're riding your motorcycle and you're camping on the weekends, and where does the income come from? Does it come where does the money come from? Because you're doing all these things that's, like super cool, and it's like, is it because you own businesses now, and are you involved in those businesses? How much are you involved in the businesses? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I have several businesses that most of which provide meager sources of income. Yep. My coaching business is by far and away the most the most lucrative business I've got, and that is the business that I spend most of my active hours working on. But the interesting thing is, because of what I teach, people early on were saying, well, how can you exit without exiting a coaching business? And at first, I didn't know the answer to that. I just BS'd my way through all those answers. Well, today, now 4+ years into doing this, I now finally see for the first time that there's a path that this company is going to be an asset worth something that somebody else would want to buy.
There you go.
Because I'm not doing all the coaching.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I've made a decision. I'm not going to do any more one-on-one coaching. I've got clients I'm working with now, but when their contract's in, I'm not going to do any more. Now, it's $10,000 a month to work with me one-on-one. Right. That's great income, dollars and hours, but it interferes with the building of a system that's going to be an asset worth something later.
Yeah.
So the mastermind is going really well. We've tripled in size this year. I want to quadruple in size next year. Okay. I've got a really good team of people working with me, my assistants here today in the studio, and we've got great coaches. I've got 5 coaches on my team now.
Okay.
An investment banker, a financial advisor, a wealth advisor, an M&A attorney, and a mindset coach.
Okay.
All are doing not most of the coaching, but a significant portion of the coaching. I guess if you looked at it in overall percentage,
Yeah.
they collectively do more than I do alone.
Okay. Well, and I think there's a clear problem for the business owner, right? Because we coach a lot of $2 to $50 million business owners.
Yep.
And the business can really run your life, right? Especially when you're building it. And it can become destructive to a lot of things. And so I see this love-hate relationship that a lot of people have with their businesses, when really you're teaching them that they can own it, they can exit it, right, while still owning it.
Yep.
And if they want to sell it, they can sell it at some point.
Yeah.
Like, go through some of the things that you teach them as part of this, the mastermind and program that you're running.
So we developed a system called the XOS system. So
Okay.
a lot of people are familiar with EOS,
Yep.
Entrepreneurial Operating System. So the OS idea is something that we're all familiar with. So I looked at, well, what kind of operating system am I teaching? Well, it's an Exeter operating system, because the name of my mastermind is the Exeter Club. So I put together XOS, the Exeter Operating System, and it's a 7-stage system that takes people through 3 tiers of entrepreneurship. And that's what I talked to your group today about, the
Right.
3 tiers of entrepreneurship, which is tier 1 is an owner operator, tier 2 is an owner manager, and tier 3 is the owner investor, which is what we should be aiming for. Okay. So the 7 stages of the XOS method very quickly are: the first stage is basic delegation.
Yeah.
Stage 2 is assembling a support squad. It's getting people on your team to help out.
Yep.
Stage 3 is developing your A team, the people that run things. Like you talked about on my show that we recorded earlier,
Yeah.
about hiring this chief revenue officer. That's an A team member.
Right.
Stage 4 is systemization and automation. It's getting things running without anybody having to do them specifically. It could be anybody. You just plug somebody in and it works. Stage 5, now this is where things start going cool. This is creating a passive profits machine.
Okay.
It's working on ways to increase the revenue that doesn't require more hours from anybody.
Okay.
How do we do that? That's stage 5. Stage 6 is exit without exiting, and that's where you get to the point where the business runs by itself and you don't have to be there. And then stage 7 is when you want, you can make the big exit. You can sell, the ultimate sell.
Yeah. And you've done that a few times?
Yeah.
And that's been good?
Oh, it's been great.
Okay.
It's been fantastic. Now, I've screwed up, and I've also succeeded at that.
Yeah. Where did you screw up?
Well, I think trusting people, going back to what I talked
Yeah.
about. So you've got that A team and that support squad. That's why they're in the first 3 stages. Delegation, A team, and support squad are those first 3 stages. They've got to be solid. If that ain't solid, it doesn't care. I don't care how good your systems are. It's not going to work. I don't care how good your revenue generation is. If those first 3 stages aren't in the right place, man, you're going to jack it up.
So when you're mapping out your year, let's go into 2025, because I map out a year in advance, right? And I put protected days on my schedule, and I kind of use an entrepreneurial time system that I learned in Sullivan: rest, practice, perform. Is that how you map out your weeks, or are you spontaneous? Like, hey, this weekend we're going on a motorcycle ride to the mountains. Like, is it pre-planned or is it spontaneous?
Mostly pre-planned.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people like you and me are pre-planning people. By the time the end of January hits, every single vacation that I'm going to take for the year is going to be on the books. Every camping trip, I was recounting this with a friend over dinner the other night. I have 30 planned days next year I'm on a motorcycle.
Okay.
That are planned as of right now. That's not what I'm going to add to it, because those are all off-road trips.
Okay.
And I just recently started riding off-road too. But I've got a street bike that we're going to take. We're probably going to do at least 2 trips to the mountains over 4 days.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be over 1 full month on a motorcycle next year, and it's planned. I'm going to go on more camping trips next year than I did this year. These last 2 years have been pretty rough with the way things have gone. So we haven't gotten to go as much. But my wife and I will sit down in January. It's what we always do, first week of the year.
Yeah.
All right, where do we want to go? Do you want to go to Key West this year? Because we love going down there. We want to go to Everglades. We want to go out west. We want to go to Canada. We've not been to Maine yet. We want to go to Maine. So we're going to look at where we want to go. And then here's where it gets cool. Is that some of those trips, very few, but some of those trips are 100% off grid. I do not, and what I mean that is like phones off. Renee, my assistant who's sitting here, and like they know I'm out. Do not talk to me.
Yeah.
But most of them, I've arranged my business in such a way that it's pretty easy to be gone and just do quick check-ins and I'm fine. My business, I can do my business in 5 to 10 hours a week.
Okay.
Of active hours.
Okay.
That's what it requires to keep it alive. Now that doesn't grow it, but that keeps it alive. I'm working on the point where 5 to 10 hours also grows it. I'm not there yet.
Okay. And when people come to you, they're probably kind of fixated on how they've done things. Is there a period? Because I remember being in Strategic Coach and Sullivan told us that he took off He only worked 165 days a year. He took off 200 days a year. You couldn't get in touch with him. And I remember sitting there as a young entrepreneur going, there's no way. Like, there is no freaking way he's doing this. And it fascinated me, because it's, in the coaching business, it can be a grind. It can be a lot of people would say it's a hard business model because you're dealing with people's emotions and their money and whatever, right? And they love you one day and they hate you next day. And so is the first step when a person comes to you, getting them to like reorient that thought process? And do you just tell them? Do you take them through an exercise? How do you get them to have this awareness that this is possible? Okay.
It's a mindset. Okay. And I think everything goes back to mindset. There's nothing in our reality that didn't start with the way we thought about it.
Yeah.
Like this desk that we're sitting in front of started in somebody's mind. Like, how we need to design it. So your reality started with you thinking about it. So the fact is, if Mr. Entrepreneur, if your wife is mad at you because you're never home, your kids don't know your name, like if that's the reality, it's because you thought that into reality. Yeah. If you don't like your reality, which we're assuming they don't, or they wouldn't have hired me, they wouldn't have joined the mastermind, is it what do we need to think about to get to the new reality? What do you want to happen? Yeah. And they've got to start thinking. I had a guy call me last night. He read half of my book on an airplane. Okay. The night before, he called me, set up an appointment, and has since now joined. Like within 48 hours, he joined the mastermind. And when I got on the phone with him on the Zoom call, I did my normal asking the questions. What's going on? And he flat out said, "I realize that if I don't stop this, I'm going to lose my kid." Yeah. He's got 3 kids. Yeah. And one of them is a teenager, is already starting to demonstrate signs of the normal teenage rebellion is fine, but like that there's some silent resentment starting to creep up because his dad's working 80, 100 hours a week. And he goes, I don't want that to happen. Yeah. Well, and I think that is if you have that personality style of work and grind and you're achievement oriented, and some people have a higher drive for achievement than others, that can create these problems, right? You're never home for the games, you never get to do these things. Yeah. And so, but you can restructure the business. And I think the business is there to serve your life, not run your life, right? And you've kind of cracked that code. So you wrote Exit Without Exiting. Yeah. You published it, you take it to the world. People can get in your masterminds. Is that the primary business? Yeah. And that's what you do, is you coach business owners. Who's the ideal person for that? Is it a $500,000 company? Is it $1 million companies? Or does that part matter? It does matter, because in order to do what we're doing, you got to have the capital to do it. Yeah. If you're struggling just to make payroll or pay yourself, and like I could help you, but that's not what I'm designed to do. Now when I started coaching, this is a funny story. You'll appreciate this. I charge people $1,500 a month to meet with me one-on-one for an hour every single week, and I couldn't believe they paid me that much. It was like, I can't believe people pay me $1,500 a month to do this. This is crazy. Yeah. Well, now, and I would help anybody. You need to start a business? I got you. Your business struggling? I got you. You can't figure out what to do next? I got you. I'll do anything. Well, as you iterate your process, you realize what you're good at and what's best and what the world needs. Yeah. And I decided that I went through this Exit Without Exiting. This is what people want, and more people want that than some of this other stuff. So that's what I work with. So our kind of a rule of engagement is $3 million and up in revenue, or a caveat to that is at least $300K in bottom line. Okay. And I got a guy that just joined recently that's doing well under $500,000 in rev, but it's all profit. So he qualified because when I talked to him, I said, well, you got to have at least $3 million in top line revenue. He goes, well, man, I'm nowhere close to that. Well, let's talk through, because you're all the language you're using is of somebody who needs my help, but the business seems to be doing really well. And his business is, I think he can run the business in less than 20 hours a week. It's doing really well. It's high profit, but he wants to take it to the next level without requiring him to be there. And that's why he reached out to me. Yeah. So 3 million or at least 300K, that's who I work with. All of our clients are entrepreneurs and business owners in the United States, except for one. We just had our first international member join from the Dominican Republic. Nice. So God's got a cigar company down in the Dominican Republic, and that's kind of cool. But yeah, that's who we work with. The social media, because I see you on social, is that something you enjoy? Because people always ask me, Coach, you're extroverted. I'm not extroverted like you are. Truth is, I'm actually very introverted. If you really know me, I'm kind of a combination, but I like a lot of personal time. I'm a creative, right? So to me, I have to amp up to do the social media. Do you enjoy that or not enjoy that? I wish I never had to do it again. Yeah. But I don't not enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I have this love-hate relationship with social media.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I could get off of it forever. I wish everybody could get off of it forever. But I'm in a business that requires me to be there.
And that's how you become known.
Because I've got to get out there.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't mind being in front of a camera. I actually like being in front of a camera. I like performing.
Yep.
I mean, I was a pastor for a long time and a teacher,
Yeah.
and then a business owner, and now a coach. Like, a lot of that's performance based. I'm
Yeah.
standing in front of people performing,
Yeah.
and so I don't mind that at all. But it's this contriving authenticity that bothers me. It's like I'm an authentic guy. I'm the real
Right.
Jason Duncan. I mean, I want to be real in every situation. But in order to play the social media game, you got to play games that I'm not really interested in. I've got a lot of followers on social media compared to the average person.
Right.
But my engagement is no better than a guy who's got 10 million followers. My engagement's the same.
Yeah.
Yet people look at me and go, oh, you know, you bought followers and you're not.
Yeah.
I don't need you, man.
Right.
Go look at The Rock. He's got more followers, I think, than anybody.
Right.
But his engagement per percentage is probably no better than mine.
Right.
I don't understand why we've got these vanity metrics that don't make any difference.
Yeah.
I hate that part of social media.
Yeah, and I think, you know, there's a lot of things. People always tell me on social media you need to do something controversial. You need to, you know what I mean? Like, go into the locker room and yell at everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what people would tell me. I'm like, man, that's just not who I am, right? Like, this is who I am. But, you know, in this game, in the coaching business, a lot of it is, you know, becoming known in the marketplace.
Yeah.
So right now you do coaching, you do masterminds. Do you do feeder things where people can come and what I call taste the ice cream, where they can just see you coach? Is that something you plan on doing? Or, because I do like one-day boot camps and people come and there's a very high probability that they go to the next level with me once they've seen me coach versus just watch me on social media. Is that something you're going to do in 2025, or is it like,
no,
this is the way you get in?
This is the way you get in. This is the mastermind or nothing.
Okay.
And I've gone through so many different iterations of trying courses or trying many things or hey, you can join the Extra Club for 90 days.
Yeah.
None of that has ever moved the needle for anybody. Did it make me money? Yes.
Yeah.
And do I want to make money? Yeah. I'm not going to do this for free.
Yeah.
But I realize that the only thing that moves the needle for people is a commitment.
Yeah.
You commit to join this. I know you always say, hey, I'll help you till you commit. Once you commit, I won't let you down.
Yeah.
Well, I tell people, look, it's a year-long commitment. It automatically renews every year until you tell us you don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. That's what this is about. Yeah. This is about a commitment. And if you commit, we're going to help. So doing the feeder stuff, you know, all the marketing companies, man, you need to do a webinar, you need to do a one-day thing. I'm like, no. Yeah. Like, I've decided all that stuff is just noise in the system. I just want to focus on the Exeter Club. That's all I do, and we do it really, really, really well.
Yeah. Well, that's called psychological demand for the people that are out there watching. When you pay attention. When you don't pay attention, right?
That's exactly right.
Well, this has been fun. Thank you for coming to the Greatness Factory.
Love it.
And I'm proud of your success, and you're in an exact perfect spot to, you know, even I find myself when people call me with the problem, I go, you know what, you should talk to Jason Duncan. He's got this concept called exit without exit, and it's perfect for you because I see a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? Like people that need exactly what it is you're coaching people on. But more importantly, you're not just coaching on it, you're living it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a cool thing because I'll see you on those camping trips. I'm like, I'd like to go on a camping trip. But my idea of camping is a Ritz-Carlton. So you do it a little bit different than I do it. But, you know, it's like, okay, he's doing what he's telling people to do. And I like that.
Yeah, well, thank you.
So next steps for you, 2025. Just keep getting bigger.
Yeah,
grow the coaching company.
Yeah, we're doubling down on the Exeter Club. I really do want to quadruple next year in membership.
Yep.
You know, it's figuring out the marketing game. That's the weirdest part of this whole thing. But interestingly enough, the book Exit Without Exiting, it's been out almost. It'll be 2 years in March. It's been out, and I have more clients see me on social media or read my book and call me like organically than who respond to ads. So we got to figure something out to increase that flow because there's so many people that need this. They need this. I like to say that the Exeter Club gives kids their dads back.
Wow.
Because there's so many of my clients.
That's a big reason.
Yeah, so many of my clients. I had one client who said at a dinner about 6 months into the program, he's like, if I hadn't have done this, I would have already quit and started delivering pizzas because I was not going to lose my kids.
Yeah. Well, you make me think about, you know, the exercise I did at the end yesterday was called the successful failure. And I got that from a sermon that Jimmy Evans did about turning failure into success. And he said, the world's going to tell you that success is all these things, right? Money, prestige, power, and education, and looks, and status, right? And I wrote down successful failure. You could be very successful in one role, but totally be failing in another role. And Covey used to say success in one role doesn't justify failure in another role, right? And I think you could say I've got a great business, but like I said, if I don't ever get to see my son's games or I don't get to see my daughter cheer, right? To me, that's failing in those roles. So I think that's really what your coaching business does. So that's a big reason to do it, man.
Well, thank you. It's been a great joy and honor to lead the Exeter Club, and this is what God put me on the planet for.
The Real Jason Duncan. People go where?
TheRealJasonDuncan.com. Anywhere, Google The Real Jason Duncan, you're going to find me.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being on the podcast today. Jason is certainly a person of interest. I've watched his career, I've watched his success, I've watched his impact. And I know a lot of people that are going to his coaching program, so you want to make sure you check that out if you're a small business owner or a big business or just getting started and you're like, this is exactly what I need. I encourage you to reach out to Jason and let him coach you through that. And I love the concept, man. The exit without exiting. All right, I'm Coach Michael Burt, another edition of America's Coach. We interview people of interest that are doing fascinating things. They got big prey drive. They've got fascinating concepts. And they're really helping people at a very high level. We're here at the Level 10 Studios at the Greatness Factory. So thank you, my brother.
Thank you.
And I'll live vicariously through you on the motorcycle and the camping trips, okay? All right, God bless you guys. I'm Coach Michael Burt. Everybody needs a coach in life.